What is up, everyone? How we doing? My name's Wilgrim, and what a better way to be back on YouTube than showing you my hitless any percent run for Cuphead. I've been gone from the YouTube for quite a while. I'm over on Twitch primarily now, but I figured this would be a good excuse for me to upload something to YouTube. Yeah, so I've been working on hitless running for quite some time, and this is basically that run. I figured I would do kind of a commentary of just my thought process as I was doing all of this, since I couldn't do it on stream. And yeah, I thought it'd be kind of fun to give a little tips and tricks on the way as well. So let's dive into it. This is any percentage, meaning that I beat any percent of the game. And I think I did like 80-something% of the game, I think, for this. I can't quite remember, but nonetheless, had a lot of fun doing this. This was, for like, just for sort of like explanatory purposes, this is the first time I've ever done a hitless challenge. I've never been a challenge runner, never been a speed runner, but hitless seemed like something that was really cool. So yeah, anyways, this is it. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you can take something away. I was really bummed that I couldn't stream this. So what happened is, the night that I got this run, I was unfortunately dealing with some internet issues, and the stream was just dropping every second. So I said, screw it. Let's go offline. I'll stream it on Discord, and people can join if they want, and then I'll just record it on the side. So that's why you're not seeing me with my camera like I would be on stream. It's kind of unfortunate you can't see my reaction or anything like that, but I was chit-chatting with homies in the Discord while I was doing this. Shout out to both Antonio and Jenna for being there for it, because this was really something special. My first ever. Oh my goodness. That was, hold on, let's go back. We started off crazy. I almost took a hit on Forest Follies on this first part. Right here on this little puffball. Right there. Damn. Close. As we say, wouldn't be a day of Cuphead streaming if it wasn't for a hit on Forest Follies. But not this time. The thing about Forest Follies is you do it so often that it becomes second nature, but it also, I think it's just so mind-numbingly boring that you can't help but want to just speed through it, you know? But just take your time and you'll get through it. Honestly, there's not a whole lot of perks and tricks to this. I just do whatever's comfortable for you. That's what I did. I think that's generally true for the whole run. You know, if you set yourself some rule sets and you map out exactly how you want to do the run, and then sort of just don't deviate from that, then that's all you can really do. The rest is just RNG and, working off of that. So the run that the way that I kind of set up this run, rather, is I wanted to rush charge, and I wanted to essentially do one run and gun on aisle 1 and one of them on aisle 2, because those are the quickest ones in the game and they're the easiest in my opinion. What I did outside of that was I utilized the DLC area to get more coins, to not have to do what's the other one called? Treetop Trouble. That's what it's called. I didn't want to do that run and gun on aisle 1 because it just kind of stinks. It's not my favorite, and there's just it takes forever, and I just don't enjoy it. Just opens the door for more possibilities of getting hit. So I decided to utilize the DLC. That is the perk of any percentage. So shout out to Muckworm as well for giving me that tip. He saw one day that I was kind of struggling to do all 3 of those run and guns to get exactly what I wanted from this. I know that's pretty a characteristic, I would say. I know a lot of people probably do the first 2 maybe, and then that's probably it. But, you know, I'm not a pro gamer like that. This is my first run, so go easy on me. I was still learning. So yeah, at this point, this is where I utilize the DLC area to get some more coins. Obviously, you can do this run a billion ways. I think I'm probably the only person ever to to probably do it this way, I guess. Maybe I'm not, but it feels like I am. I feel like that's the cool thing about challenge runs are you get to see how other people think and get to see like what they think is easy. I certainly have always been a proponent of just doing things that the way I want to do them, I guess. You know, I'm happy to take advice and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, if I want to do a run a certain way, then I'm gonna make it happen, you know. That's the other thing that I never really utilized was I never really used Miss Chalice. I know there's a few people I think that have done Miss Chalice for, you know, the regular game. It seems like a cheat code in the regular game. I know that's kind of the point, but it seems a little too easy. I'm like, dude, you get 2 jumps and I don't know. And invincibility rolls. It's like, damn, that seems like a lot. I feel like it takes some adjustment period for sure, but I feel like if you really were a guy that or gal that focused on the DLC, then it'd probably translate to the regular game. Anyway, now I've got my 10 coins, so I'm going to go back to aisle 1 and then rush charge, and then the rest is pretty much history. Honestly, you can do the entirety of the run with just charge and roundabout. I think those are the 2 that you could use for this whole run if you wanted to, and be just fine. You'll see that throughout this run, I do tab out a couple of times just because I'm trying to turn on or change some music, trying to get my focus on. So apologies for that. Also, I hope you enjoy the lovely names that I've developed over on the left-hand side. We've got some absolute delights over there. Some of them, they just come to me. I don't really understand it, but... Starting off great. Already missed a charge. Or mistimed it. Not too bad though. Doesn't set me off here. Honestly, for this boss, there's really not a ton of tips that I can give. Most of aisle 1 is going to be pretty self-explanatory. There's not a ton of RNG on this boss, so honestly, if you get hit on this boss, it's kind of sad days. Which, by the way, I think I've gotten hit on literally every single boss, everything, at least 100 times. Like, I mean, there's definitely times where like I remember this one time I got raided with a fairly sizable raid in the middle of Mausoleum 2, and of course I was distracted and got hit. So literally it was hitless right before that point. So yeah, pretty standard run or standard boss fight right there. Root Pack is probably the easiest boss on this aisle, I would say. It's between him and whatever the hell the giant blueberry is called. I call him Gumby. I don't know what the hell his real name is. Goopy or something. Whatever. You knew who I mean. Next, we got Rib Me Croaks, dude. Ribby and Croaks. The main thing is just the very end. The rest of this is pretty standard stuff. which I'll talk about here in a minute. Get a few charge shots off, and then I use the roundabout. Get the parries. Use my EXs as often as I can so I can dish out as much damage. And then I just use the roundabout to pretty much just lay out the damage as I need to. The thing about the roundabout is, like, it's so safe. You can just turn around and start shooting and move forward and hold down the trigger, and it seems kind of like it's a fairly simple weapon to use, especially for beginners too. Got to get the parry off before the arm comes down. That's when you know you're a pro gamer. Bull is pretty good on this. It's not too difficult. What I do is I turn around, let the roundabouts kind of collect, and then turn around when I feel like it. Really, you really want green. You want the snake or whatever on this one. Tiger is the worst one, but apparently I was Joe Exotic for just a couple of seconds though. I did some good damage, so. And now I finally remember that I need to move my counter. So we're ready for Gumby. I know a ton of people that would probably opt to do like Cagney and rush Hildy. That makes sense. I guess I just did this way because I was tired of having to walk all the way around, honestly. I liked just having to do Cagney and then walk back to the store, and that's it. Another thing I want to point out is you absolutely could use Smoke Bomb for this and rush that early. That's totally viable. I personally don't think it's all that useful in aisle 1, so I don't buy it until the very end of aisle 1. Also, yes, I know that the damage here is like pretty much not that great, but it's part of the thing with this game is it's just like it's purely feel. I know there's parts where bosses are invulnerable and I still shoot. It's for like completeness sake, you know? My own OCD coming out. But Gumby, pretty simple. I just use the charge the whole time. Trust me, it'll make the boss fight go so much faster. 43 seconds it's pretty quick. I mean, this isn't a speed run, but ultimately the goal for every run should be I'm dishing out as much damage as I can so I can get the hell out of this boss fight. That's at least how I view it. Hildy, this one, so right before these runs, Hildy was just absolutely eating my lunch, dude. I was absolutely getting hit on pretty much everything that she was throwing at me. I don't know what was going on, but the only piece of advice I can give that I was getting hit by was in the beginning, the bowl section. We'll talk about here in a second, but the rest is just, it's kind of a get good thing, you know? It just takes practice and repetition. So for here, you'll see me use pretty much the extremes of the map. You'll see me go all the way to the bottom and then back up all the way to the top and get in damage when I can. I'm staying towards the top here because if, well, and as I say that, I go to the bottom. But the reason I do that is just because I'm trying to avoid him charging at me. If you stay towards the top, you can just simply mini plane upward and you're safe. Whereas if you try and go down, it's like you're trying to beat a quicker thing from happening. So I don't know. It just seems kind of safer to stay at the top. I get some decent RNG on the little Beyblade thing there that's going on. I'm pretty sure the stream before this run, I had the worst RNG ever with that Beyblade, where the line literally landed on my character, which has yet to happen until that moment. You could definitely save up for bomb here. I opt not to, and just dispense all of... Whoa, that was really close. that was really close there. I danced around those stars, but yeah, I just opt to use all my EXs, dish out as much damage as I can, then move on. And then the last boss is Cagney. Cagney used to be a big trouble spot for me, but I decided to get good at the game. No, honestly, I think Charge makes this next boss very quick, and you'll see me just absolutely melt through. And I remember watching it back and thinking, yeah, I could have made that go a lot faster. It's actually some kind of interesting RNG. But the main thing with this boss is you want to parry the pink pellet. And you'll see me do it just now. You're watching these pellets come down. Look for the pink one, parry it. Trust me, it'll make your life so much simpler. Because the thing is, if you don't parry that, then your ceiling kind of goes away. You know, I parried that, so I didn't have to worry about it. But the worst is when you miss a pink pellet and he transitions to phase 3, because then you have no ceiling and you have no floor. So just hit the parries. It'll make your life a lot easier. I actually managed to... ideally, you'd want to only get 2 phases of RNG in phase 2 there. But I go the distance. I actually end up getting 2 ultimates in that, which is pretty rare. 53 seconds, that's okay. I've definitely done it quicker, but that's all right. And that's aisle 1. When you're doing any percentage, I feel like aisle 1 goes a lot quicker when you use this method. When you use the DLC, you skip one of the run and guns. It made my life a lot simpler. Now I'm going to get this extra coin that becomes available to me, and I use that to buy Smoke Bomb. I know it's hard to see, but in the top left, you'll see I have 3 coins, so... That's set, and honestly, I could play the rest of this map, or the rest of this game with just this. You don't need to do another run and gun, but I decide to because I really want to buy Converge. Converge is super useful in aisle 3, and I'll kind of explain that methodology here in a bit. But you could use this and be completely fine running the rest of the game. I opt to go Baron. My pathing for aisle 2 in general is pretty unique, I think. I know a lot of people that would prefer to do Grim first. They use the outside part of the map and go all the way around to fight Grim, you know, like right after Baron. I just preferred not to. I don't really know why. I actually started to do it a little bit. I would do Baron and then Grim, but I don't know. I liked this method a little bit better. The RNG is crazy in this one. This was another boss that was just absolutely just giving it to me. I mean, from that RNG right there, the gumball machine is definitely the worst one. But fortunately, I get it in phase 1, so I don't have to deal with any of those guys running down on the bottom there. Obviously, get the pink one for the parry. This is what you want. This is awesome. And the third boss of this phase, or mini boss rather, of this phase, getting Jawbreaker is fantastic. Because it only takes 4 charge shots to kill it. The worst is probably Cupcake, which I was getting pretty frequently up until this point. And you'll see, once again, I'm using the extremes of the map. I don't want to sound like I'm a pro here, but just what I liked was you saw me go from all the way on the left-hand side of the screen, moving all the way back to the right. Because the head follows you throughout that whole thing. So if you're standing in the middle and barely moving, the chances of the head hitting you are actually much higher. Whereas if you're staying all the way on one side, it's got to travel over there to try and get you first. So, anyways, fairly simple. I was very happy to. It was definitely at this point in the round. I was definitely happy to finally not get hit by the two bosses that had been hitting me for 60% of my runs, probably. For that week, anyway. It's weird, like, you'll go in phases where some bosses give you a lot of trouble, and then other times you're like, this is the easiest boss ever. With this boss, really, the main piece of advice right here is just get through that first phase as quick as possible, and then survive the second. The second phase, you'll see all I'm doing right now is I'm just moving up and down. I'm not overcomplicating it. I'm not really pressing myself to hit parries when I can. Just move up and down and avoid the feathers. That's all you can do. Get the parries when you feel safe. If you don't feel safe, that's fine. Trust me, you'll be all right. I use my bomb pretty quickly because I want to start building cards up for the last phase. Which is honestly the hardest phase of this boss, in my opinion. So you want to have more iframes at your disposal. Typically, I would get up close and personal there, but I'm trying to draw out the damage that I do so I can get more parryables. A little wow, that was close. Hold on a sec. Hold on. This, let me go back here. I just barely missed. Is there a way that I can slow this down? I don't think so. But anyway, you'll see me barely get by here. Right. So here, and then, yeah, right over. Whew. A little tight. A little tight on that one. But anyway, an important note is when the heart comes out of his throat there, excuse me. If you're shooting the bird itself, you're not actually doing damage. You have to shoot the heart to be, yeah, to be doing damage to Wally. So just something to note. Shout out to Muckworm again for teaching me that. Yeah, so I think in the past I had done Luigi's lake house here. He's so rich, he has a mansion and a lake house, by the way. Gotta mention that. In the past, I had done those two bosses, Luigi's Lake House, so I can get Ult 2, or Super Art 2, rather, and then go fight Grim. But I don't know, I was feeling so confident with this run. Wow, that was a good parry for not having auto parry on. I was feeling so confident at this point that I wasn't super worried about Grim. I just knew I had to play smart. That's the thing, is like, if you know that you can beat the boss, like, without getting hit at all, multiple times in a row, then just be smart. Just think about, you know, what you need to do. How do you need to react? How do you need to, you know, position yourself? These are all things that you learn from just doing bosses over and over and over again. I guess since this is such a simple boss, this will give me enough time. I do want to say a special thanks to a lot of the people that gave me the support, helped me, you know, tackle some of these bosses, because I definitely didn't do it all on my own. These bosses can be really tricky, so, you know, the more expertise you can get from other people, I think, the better you can beat them yourself. So shout out to Tark, Meridian, Muckworm, obviously, Med, Oon is a big proponent of teaching when it comes to these boss battles. So shout out to you guys. Sublime, obviously. Jimmy, you wanna? Treasure is always one of my big. I just despise it. It's not fun. And you'll see I get 3 cards of damage. Ideally, you'd like to have 5 at this point, but I didn't feel comfortable or safe getting some of those parries. So I just mini-planed and then just avoided everything. The method I'm using here is kind of nice. Basically, I learned that if you're holding down the trigger, or whatever your shoot button is, when you're mini-planed, it won't actually, whenever you come out of the mini-plane, it won't actually shoot initially. So if you let go of the trigger and you are mini-planed, as soon as you come out of mini-plane mode, pull the trigger and you'll throw out a bomb. It takes 1 bomb to kill each of those little pillars in phase 2, so that's what I did for that method. For that method right there, I just basically saved bomb until that little section so I get iframes. Once again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm using the extremes of the map again. You'll see that I'm going from, ooh, a little tough section there. I definitely pretty atypical, but once again, I'm using the extremes of the map. Going from top to bottom and just kind of avoiding that hat, whatever the hell it is, turban or whatever. With this, I just wait until the second beam that comes from his head until I use my ultimate. It kind of guarantees that I'm gonna kill the boss. So, yeah. And Jimmy's dead. And his D is useless. But at this point in the round, I knew that I was gonna have a hot round. I knew that I was feeling confident at this point. I knew that if I beat Beppy and didn't get hit, then I was probably gonna get hitless for aisle 2. Beppy is, for whatever reason, just such a problem child for me. I don't change any of my methods here. The only thing that I did change is for this first phase. I use roundabout, and as you can see, I just jump up and down to avoid those ducks. I used to use charge only, and then someone was like, why don't you, I think Tark was like, why don't you just use the roundabout? And I was like, I don't want to. And then I got smart. Here, I really don't have any advice on that section. You'll see me just kind of shooting up where all of those little balloon dogs come out. Yellow horse on that second or that third phase is kind of annoying because you can only get off 4 charge shots. It takes 5 charge shots to kill the horse section. So if you get green horse, you can kill it in one pass of the RNG. If not, you got withstand 2 of them. And then this last section, basically what I'm doing is waiting for the penguins to roll out and start throwing their baseballs at me, and then I use my ultimate. I think this is the safest way. This is pretty damn safe. You don't really get in any trouble if you just play smart and dodge those first sections of baseballs. And then use your ult, and you're pretty much already done with a level at that point. And that's Beppy. Up next, Wizard Wrestling, dude. This is probably one of my favorites. So we early on in my hitless career, Tark and I had this running bit that it was just called Wizard Wrestling for some reason. And that was actually the other run and gun. The other run and gun, Funfair Fever, has the wizards in it. And I don't know, it just became a bit. So now I have to get a tattoo of Wizard Wrestling because I made a promise to the community that if I did hitless, that would be my tattoo. So be on the lookout for that later. But seriously, this section, the only thing that I do differently is I use Chaser here. I use it for this next phase. Only other tip I can give is you see me right there. Let me back this up just a section. So you'll see me, basically what I'm about to do here is I'm I'm loading up a charge. So right here, I'm loading up a charge. I'm going to dash forward. So I hit the I, and I can immediately start working on the next charge. So dash, already have 2 charges off. The third one hits before it can even send out that car and all that stuff. So this section, just hold down the trigger and dash. That's all I'm doing. Mentally, I'm counting how many dashes that I can get off before the next little area, before I need to stop. God, that was close there, too. You know, let's go back. Oh, I'll get there eventually, folks. Don't mind me. Hang on. We didn't even get there. All right. Boy, I'm really messing this up, aren't I? Okay, right here. So I almost get hit by this little missile thing right on this next part. Right there. I'm really fortunate that made it, but yeah, the rest is really just, it's such a there's not very much RNG on this, so you can kind of do the same thing every time. Once again, I'm utilizing that method of building up a charge shot and then dashing into the area where I can actually attack the enemy. Do it again there. Boom. Done. Pretty quick. Once again, this isn't a speed run, but the more damage you can get out in the faster amount of time, the easier this level becomes. And time for the lovely dragon. The dragon that has ended more runs than I care to admit. It's, if you are someone that's new to Cuphead and you feel like this boss is just absolutely destroying you, me too. It's constantly humbling me. Every time I play this boss, I think I've got it figured out, and I really don't. So but I switch back to roundabout, but I solely use charge on this. I like to get the parries on these if I can. I don't feel fully safe getting that second one because I don't like doing super fast upward parries. It just kind of doesn't guarantee safety for me. So I opt out of that one. I got this trick from Tarkonix a long time ago where basically what I'm doing is I'm waiting to move for those tentacles. The tentacles, you can kind of finagle to make them follow you at 2 extremes of the map. So if you wait and wait until the tentacles go all the way. God, the words are hard apparently. You knew what I meant. You knew what I meant. That next section, what I'm doing there is I'm just avoiding the flames. I'm watching where they're directed and then jumping the opposite way that they're going. It wouldn't be anything that any Wilgrim content if there wasn't confusion about. That's for sure. Typically, I would use my ult there, but I was pretty surprised that I got a pretty fast phase 3. Like that felt really quick. So I'm not gonna question it. I guess the RNG was just in my favor on that one. But typically, I feel like the last phase is the phase to beat. And at this point, I knew that if I beat these next 2 bosses, then I was going to get the run. Because at this point, I had not been hitless into Isle 3 in probably a couple of weeks. And this was the first one. And so I knew that I was having a good run. I knew that my run was really solid at this point. So I just needed to lock it in for Isle 3. And this is kind of where Antonio and Jenna were talking to me throughout this run, and they both kind of just stopped at this point, and I just kind of focused in. Takes 5 shots to kill that guy in the first phase, so honestly, just focusing on that. I use an EX here because I like to get as much damage out on her as I can. And then I dash over so I can stay on the platforms. You can parry these guys if you want. I just choose not to. Once again, just purely a comfort thing. Get another EX out. Once again, the same motif is that I'm using both extremes of the map. I went all the way up against where she was, and then I moved all the way to the other side so I could avoid the triangles. And then it's just landing my charge shots. Making sure I get off as many as I can. I hate getting fists on that. The fists of pain are just ridiculous. So I was very fortunate that the RNG there was the saw blade or whatever. And yeah, I tab out at this point because I was like, okay, I gotta switch the song. I gotta focus up. I gotta lock it in here. So I was switching up the music and being like, all right, guys, I think we all three of us kind of had a mutual like understanding that I was on a tear. But it was nice to have them every now and again just kind of throw something out for me, like a comfort word, you know, here and there. So it was kind of nice to have a little bit of an audience. I wasn't worried at all. Dr. Cal, this is probably the most time-sensitive one that you'll ever fight. I start with the top like you see here and work my way down. Parry the chest and then back up to the top laser and make sure I get enough damage off to kill it in 2 passes. I go back and forth between shooting the chest and the stomach. Some people prefer to go with the bottom part first. I just liked it this way and had always done it this way, so I stuck to it. Pretty fortunate to get magnet for the RNG there. You definitely don't want the hands with the shooty balls. That kind of stinks. And then you can skip all of phase 2 if you save your bomb until that little part there. So that's what I do. And then this is literally Wall-E 2.0. You're just moving up and down to avoid these little orbs or whatever the hell they are. And get the parries when you feel comfortable. Don't even worry about trying to, you know, make sure you land every single shot because you'll hit him eventually. You'll just worry about staying alive. Who cares how long it takes you? If you're worried about time, then you're worrying about two different things, right? This is a hitless run. This isn't a time challenge. So I just remembered that and it kind of helped me get through it. Now at this point, I felt super confident. I felt so good. I remember being like, I think this is the one. I knew that the only barrier between me and getting the run was Cala Maria. The next 3 bosses are eons simpler than the 2 I just fought. So I knew at least I was gonna make it to Cala Maria hitless, which would have been my distance PB. So regardless, at this point, I knew I was confident in my capabilities. I knew that I had at least a distance PB record. By the way, up until this point, my total hit PB was 2 hits. So just for some context, I guess. Here on Sally, there's really not a ton of advice I can give. I would say that I stay up close and personal, but you just saw me stand far away from her and shoot her at a distance, so. Now, this next section, I always say you want to have... If you're going to get yourself in any trouble, it's going to be in this phase. So make sure that you have invincibility here. You can see me use it pretty early on. Yeah, and then she's done by that point. So dodge what you can and then use your invincibility when you want. That was actually kind of close. You definitely don't want to jump during lightning, but I won't lie, I kind of broke that rule there. get my EX off and get another charge off, and that damage does count. So 2 hits at the very end and it's already over with. The bitch-ass train. The train is... I mentioned... So you heard me say before that I specifically like using Converge for Aisle 3. This is the boss I would use it on. The reason being is because it makes Phase 1 so simple. It makes it so incredibly easy. And it just melts Phase 1. I move forward a little bit. I get a charge off, switch over to my weapon. My Converge, and then just hold it down. Shoot the pumpkin, let it fall so I don't have to worry about that. Back to shooting them. Shoot, reposition, hit that parry. So quick. Super easy. I get rid of this pumpkin right there and then focus on Skelly Boy there. Miss a charge like a pro. But I don't try and control where I end up. I just react to wherever the pumpkins take me. I get kind of fortunate here and go from middle to right to middle. The worst is when you go to the complete opposite ends. Next, I basically just focus on one of them first and then move to the other one. In the past, I've done where I will shoot 2 charges for each boss. But this kind of lets you focus on one. Big PP energy going for that parry for no reason. And then this next little section takes 5 charge shots. So I just am keeping that in mind. I got 1 and 2 right there. Miss number 3. There's 3, and I decide to ult there. 4. I think I missed 5. Yeah. So, yeah, so I didn't make it easy for myself on that one, but I knew I was going to get it. But yeah, the main thing from that boss that I could give you is just save your invincibility to that last part. Because it gets overwhelming. You have the bone circle coming at you, and then you have the little flame balls coming at you as well. So you want to... In my opinion, how can you guarantee safety? Well, use your invincibility. Wormy Wienerman up next, aka Werner, the Werner brothers. This boss is probably the easier. This is probably the second easy boss on this aisle. And I've had runs end right here. Actually, before I set my distance PB of Briny Beard, it was on this boss, and I had gotten hit here twice. So, just goes to show you. With this section, this kind of reminds me a lot of the Devil a little bit, with those little cherry bombs that land in the middle. You definitely just want to jump to where the cherry bombs land. Because you know that those little AoE effects outside of that are not going to hit you. So I make sure I have enough for ult 2. I have enough cards, which I do. And I use my invincibility here early. Because I felt confident enough. This is actually kind of a ballsy play. In a perfect world, I would have used it probably like there. But I felt like I was hitting my charge shots pretty consistently. So I just said, screw it. And the rest is pretty easy. I mean, use your EXs. Just don't be dumb. Don't do anything that you're gonna regret. See, I landed... There's another example of landing in the very center, so you can avoid the AoE outside of that. The same thing happens with the Devil's Clap, and you'll see me talk about that. You wanna end up where the middle of where the clap comes together, not on the sides. So that was kind of my point in making that comparison. But otherwise, that's a pretty easy boss. Captain Slimy Peen, aka Briny Beard. I got nothing for this other than you basically just want to use Roundabout for the very end. That's why I switched back to Roundabout here. You get your parries when you feel like you're comfortable enough. That was actually kind of close. I dashed through the parryable, which is kind of a no-no. I decided to shoot the squid guy twice there. I don't know why, but if you hit him in the right spot, he'll die in one go, or one charge rather. A really cool tip that I started utilizing a lot more. Wow, that was close. I don't know why I didn't dash forward there, but I didn't. But a tip that you can use here is you can dash up against the boat and you actually won't take damage. I forget who it was that taught me that, either Tark-Un or Muckworm, one of the two. Or one of the three, rather. But it's useful. And then this last section, I stay below his little laser beam and then just use Roundabout and let it hit him on his own. Now, at this point, I was pretty nervous. I won't lie. I was confident, but I was nervous because that's my distance PB right there. I knew in my head, if I beat Calamaria, I'm gonna get the run. I knew it. So everything was kind of riding on this moment for me.
Good day for a swell battle. And begin.
Praying that I get good RNG. This is pretty decent so far. I get the ghosts here, and this configuration of the pufferfish is nice. Because I don't have to move. I can just go up and down, and that's it. Now, this section is... I got pretty fortunate. The homing dolphin, or whatever the hell it is, the heat-seeking dolphin, plus the... those little mines are a nightmare. But fortunately, the third one came out a little early. So, I lucked out there. I used to always save up for bomb and use it right away. I don't know why I started doing this, but I felt like I would put myself in a bad position for the third phase if I did that. So I saved my bomb for a lot longer than I probably should. And I use it right here so I can get the iframes. So I use it right there. I already start working on making that phase go by so much quicker. Now I go for the up in your face method here. So all I'm doing is I'm using my D-pad. I'm looking at the far extreme right of the map to avoid any of those spikes. That was kind of close. That was a little too far, but I made it somehow. So, and then you can avoid getting stoned there. Shout out to 420. But if you stay up closer, you avoid both the skull bubbles and getting stoned. Not that anyone would want that, but made it go by so much quicker. And a huge sigh of relief happened at this point. Because I knew, the thing is, I'm so confident with the devil, or with the, with King Dice here, that I knew that one was going to be no issue. And it was just between me and the devil at that point. At this point, I was just thinking, just do everything that you've practiced. Don't deviate. Just play comfortably. Play as if you were playing in 100% comfort. So I switch over to Converge because I use it for the devil. And just to prevent me from forgetting it, I did it then. The method I use here is I do all threes the whole way. So 3, 5, and 8 are the bosses that I use. I'm probably the only human in existence that does that, but this is just easiest for me. The cigar is so simple because you literally just move forward and backwards and jump occasionally. And that's it. That's like the simplest thing ever, in my opinion. I'm not even moving. I move back a little bit, reposition myself to go beyond that. Or to avoid that little swirly guy. And then dash over to the next side and do the same thing. So it's just so easy. I go for where is the least margin of error? This one, because I'm not moving very much. So that's why I opt for cigar on that. And the same thing is for the rabbit here. I decided to... Oh, I think I paused here because I wanted to change the song again. I wish I could remember exactly what it was that I was listening to, but I remember turning it down because I wanted to hear the game volume the best I could. But it was... I don't even remember. I don't even remember what it was. Something metal, but anyway, my point in saying that, you know, choosing the levels where I don't even have to move very much, that's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm doing this here with the rabbit because all you have to do is jump and dash, and that's it. It's super straightforward. It just guarantees my safety. And I'll show you here exactly what I'm talking about. Just standing up on the card, dashing. That's it. That's literally it. I've just explained the entirety of this mini boss. Dashing forward if I have the charge. A little early on that jump, but I made up for it. That seems to me like the fastest and safest way to play that boss. So that's what I opt for. And then the final one is the roulette lady, which is also super easy. You just dash through her like this. So you can literally just stand still and dash if you want. And then I dash through those little balls there. Yeah, by this point I knew I was gonna get this King Dice pretty easily. Use a 3 to make it safe. And then I think I hit a 3 here too. Yeah. So 3's all the way. Makes it a little easier too. Now the method I'm using here is I know that I have to withstand 2 rounds of cards. That's it. 2 rounds of cards, and then I can use my ultimate for the 3rd set of cards that he throws at me. So if I land all these parries, which I do right now, and then I use my ult right here, in just a second, there we go. Boss fight's over. I don't even have to worry about the 3rd phase. It's that simple. So in my head, I'm saying, withstand 2 rounds of cards, that's it. The fight's over. I already have won. And I use that logic with the devil. Because I'm saving my ultimate for the very last interaction I have with the devil. Because I know that when the chips start falling on me, I don't even have to worry about it because my ultimate is going. So now at this point, let me just say, I didn't realize that I just went into the devil so quickly. But let me pause this and just say, at this point, my heart was absolutely pounding. I cannot explain to you exactly what it was like because I just felt adrenaline. That's all it was. But I was focused. I knew that regardless, this would be an amazing run. And Jenna even said, she's like, dude, whatever happens, regardless, this is a great run. And she was right. I was absolutely on fire. I played so clean, but I knew going into this battle that I had it. So let's watch what goes on. The worst RNG that you can hope for is in this first phase is getting the clap right away. and I didn't get it, thankfully.
Real high-class stuff. Now go.
There's really not a ton of stuff going on here. Now, for the clap, I decide to use the method of holding the charge, jumping up, EXing, and then dashing away. It's probably the best way to play that section. Honestly, this RNG is fantastic so far. You just have to move side to side like I'm doing, and then shoot the spider once it falls down. So there again, you can see let me just show this again real quick. So what I'm doing is I'm jumping upward, I'm EXing, and then dashing away whenever he claps. So let me show you here. He's about to clap, so I jump, EX, dash away. And this is an incredibly fast phase 1. I don't know if I was laying down damage or what, but Jesus, did I feel confident. At this point, I knew I had the run. I just needed to remember everything that I had practiced. But I knew I had the run at this point. Kind of got close with that that machete or whatever, the hatchet that's rolling around on that last section. And then that felt really fast as well, so I was like, damn, I guess I'm flying through this boss battle. My heart is absolutely pounding at this point. I see, and that's where I think I like Converge over Spread, which you absolutely could use on this battle, but I like taking out these little fucking harpies right away. I kind of am having some bad luck there with getting a charge off, but it didn't matter. At this point, I knew I had the run. And I'm absolutely popping off at this point, by the way. I think at this point I screamed something like, and that's the fucking run! And then just nothing but, woo! And fuck yeah! Like, just like nothing but just yelling for like the next 3 minutes. I was just so excited. I was so excited. I was so happy. I probably said a bunch of things that I didn't, that I am fortunate that I didn't record, but it was, it was awesome. I cannot explain to you how good that felt. That felt so amazing to do. And honestly, that was the best feeling in the world. That felt so good. I was really sad that I couldn't do this on stream, but it was the idea that I could. I'm glad that I did it this way, but I'm also sad. I was glad that two homies that I'm very close with were able to witness it in person while I was doing it in the Discord. But also, I was happy that I got the run, obviously. But it felt good. It felt good to have those close homies witness it in real time. But I was sad that I couldn't do it on stream. I would have loved to have had that happen. But nonetheless, this was the run. I want to give some quick shout outs. I don't want to, carry on too much longer because I know that this is a long video. But I do want to say a special thanks to all the people that supported me through this. Like I said earlier, Oon, Tark, Muckworm, Sublime, Med, Meridian, all the runners of Cuphead that have came in, and just regular players have been so nice, so caring, so willing to help. Joni is another great guy that's been doing this. Amir, there's way too many people to thank, but to the people that have supported me this far with Cuphead is astounding. I can't even begin to say thank you enough. But this is just the start for me. This is just the start in terms of hitless running and with Cuphead. Next, I'm going to be doing all flags, 100% all flags, damageless, hitless. And we'll go from there. Other games are to come. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something along the way. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot overall. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much.